People think they can't live without a woman, and so they just go through life, with a trail of failures, kids scattered all along the way that have no dad, and they never will find the perfect person or the perfect solution. I want to cultivate my material desires and cultivate my spiritual life at the same time. It just doesn't work. You got to make a choice somewhere. What's more important? What am I trying to do? They want a perfect material situation for all their sensual pleasures and somehow go to heaven. That's just not reality. That's not how it works.
One of the guys is joining now. He's had a partner for a long time, and they had a child together, and it didn't work out, and they broke up, and he was now trying to get together with another girl, and finally he found that his heart was still a little bit with his first girl, so it's really hard for him to get into this new relationship, and he finally quit it. And we've tried to inspire him to, think about, if you want to do this seriously, then you perhaps want to consider, marrying a person who's interested in the same. So it would be, he actually asked me if I could ask you about how to deal with leaving someone behind like that, and like making it so that you can, go on in your life and not have to be stuck in the past and not able to open your heart again because, you've had this experience.
Tell him forget it for a while. Just sit back, forget about the woman story, and just focus on real life. People think they can't live without a woman, and so they just go through life, with a trail of failures.
Yeah.
Kids scattered all along the way that have no dad, and and they never will find the perfect person or the perfect solution. And it's just a dead-end street, man. And all that just completely disturbs, if not completely blocks, their spiritual progress.
Yeah.
Because their mind is still there. Where's the next one? And even when they go to gatherings or whatever, they're just eyeing up all the female attendees. Well, maybe she's the one. Maybe I could, make it with her. Or, it's still the same game. It's exactly. Just moved into a different arena. And,
exactly.
Thinking, well, maybe there's better options here.
Yeah, more. Yeah, that's true.
So, as long as you're playing that game, you're not going to go very far. I mean, because that's where you're at, and you got to live a lifestyle that takes you beyond that.
Yeah. This was a.
And I'm sure this lady that he had the kid with and left and whatever, it's not his first one.
Maybe not, I would be surprised in a sense. In today's society, we all have many relationships.
You started 8 years old, 6 years old. Stack them up along the way.
Yeah, but it seems like perhaps he has his like one foot in each camp. I
want to cultivate my material desires and cultivate my spiritual life at the same time, and it just doesn't work. Jesus said it. You can't love God and mammon, at the same time, because you're going to love one and hate the other, or hate one and love the other. You got to make a choice somewhere. What's more important? What am I trying to do? I can't have it all. People want it all. They want a perfect material situation for all their sensual pleasures and somehow go to heaven. And And, that's just not reality. That's not how it works. So you got to choose. What do you really want? I don't know.
But how do you? Yeah, it's true. That's true. And you.
I mean, our process is for everybody. It's not like, oh, you got to fully commit and give up everything. That's not our process. But you got to actually move forward. You got to apply the process seriously, and gradually you'll, understand. This is an obstacle. This is in the way. I got to go beyond this. I can't you have to come to that conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
Or you've got to be so, receptive to hearing the Lord in the heart and accepting Scripture and the spiritual master that you don't experience it from your personal level, but it's true from the real message that you receive through those sources. And again, you make the decision based on that. Somehow it has to take place.
Yeah, I see what you mean. You have to build your faith in this process and those means of achieving knowledge, which is different from your own speculation and your own mind and what you think you know about the way forward.
Yeah, and understand who you are.
Right.
Where real happiness is to be found. And, if you don't ever do that, then you're just going to hover on the mental level, forever till you go beyond that.
Yeah.
A lot of people come to chanting just because they're interested in finding a partner. They're finding a girlfriend or a boyfriend or a husband or whatever. I think, well, these people don't drink, they don't smoke, they, have a good lifestyle. I'd like one of those to enjoy.
Yeah.
These other ones are not on this pure level, so I like to enjoy this pure level of possibilities. But they're really not interested in spiritual life. They're just interested in what might be the rewards from associating with this group of people and plucking one off. I mean, there's many marriages that just fall apart because that was the basic motivation.
Yeah, you're looking for the reward or the enjoyment through the other person, or
yeah, and they convince the person who may be quite serious that they're serious too, and they really are wanting to have you as a partner to grow spiritually together and serve Krishna together or whatever, and then when you get married, the truth comes out.
Yeah. Yeah, you're still playing the game. That's a game of the material world that you're just moved into another field, just like you're saying. That's the game, you know.
Yeah, completely.
That's how it is. You pretend to be something you're not to impress people and to make them love you or to make them appreciate you. But it's for something that you're not. It's for a fake.
And unfortunately, it greatly disturbs the life of the person that you get attached to you.
Right. Yeah.
Now their life is greatly disturbed.
Yeah.
And I've seen people that just get involved in that, and they were quite serious before, and they just quit chanting. They just go away. They leave.
Yeah.
They'd rather have their new attachment and their family and whatever.
Yeah.
And usually it doesn't work anyway because it's founded on lust instead of, real care. And so later they come, staggering back after some, dramatic experiences, usually dragging a kid or two or three. And, now they're back to square one with a whole lot of baggage.
Right. Yeah.
So everybody's got to be very aware that this danger is ever present.
It's just, I guess it's. I mean, I totally understand. It takes. It's not just done in a snap to develop your relationship to God and to get your satisfaction through that and to feel that and to make that real. While it seems much easier for someone in this world, to place your love upon them and you'll have immediate, they can talk to you directly and they respond, you communicate, and it feels so more real in a way, I guess.
Yeah, I heard one girl told me, I need a tangible Christian.
Yeah.
Yeah, all this philosophy is good and whatever, but I need a tangible Christian. Yeah.
But
that's the reality.
But so, to come back to his original question, how do you make it so that you can move on? This person has had a partner for a few years. They broke up because it didn't work, and now he's unable to move into a new relationship because it's still within his heart. I guess he still in his heart has a little bit of hope that someday, perhaps it could be them too.
Well, why doesn't he go to that and try to make it work? I mean, he's got a kid involved. Why didn't it work? What were the details? I mean, you've already committed to this person. You've had a kid together. Now you got a kid that's got no father. And if they get another father, is it a girl or a boy?
It's a girl, and she's with him like every now and or every weekend. I think every 2 days each weekend. Yeah.
So what happens more and more and more now, and statistics prove it, is so his ex-partner, eventually finds another guy and gets involved with him and. Probably not married again, just living together. And then their daughter winds up getting exploited by this new guy.
Yeah.
Sexually molested. And I mean, the world is full of that story.
Yeah.
And it all goes back to him or them together. But, he was, you got to understand the man has to take a lot of responsibility for all this. Because that's the man's position, is to establish a family, and is to take care of the family, protect the offspring, et cetera, et cetera. You can always point fingers at the females, but the males are the ones that have that responsibility, that position in a relationship. So, he's going to have to understand he's responsible for that. If this molestation, I mean, I'm just theorizing, but it's based on fact.
Yeah.
It's not just, it could happen. It does happen, a huge percentage of the time. And you can understand why that is. The new guy that comes into the relationship with the mother of this girl, she's not his daughter.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not his daughter.
Yeah.
That's just a young girl that's living in the same house.
Yeah.
And he was originally attracted to the mother, but as the daughter grows up and becomes more attractive than the mother, not his daughter, it's just, wow, this is a really attractive, budding, young adolescent that every day, every week, every year becomes, more blossoming and more exuding pleasure. And I'm, going to take advantage of the inside position that I have. I'm on the inside of this story.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of access that I know that ordinary guy other than him wouldn't have access to.
Yeah.
And he sees her in all kinds of different situations at night and in the showers and in whatever. And there you go. You got a formula for exploitation.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have the barrier that's instilled by the Lord himself that you don't do that to your daughter because that's a special relationship. Of course, now things are so perverted, many fathers do
Yeah. Yeah.
and have for years and years and years. I mean, it's not just a brand new event. But there's still a barrier there that many people will not cross because this is not just a female, this is my daughter.
Mm.
So there's a special care, a special protective,
Of course.
feeling and inclination, and you're not going to, do that
Yeah.
to her. You would do it if it wasn't your daughter, and that's what the new guy has going for him. This is not my daughter. This is
Yeah. And
just another female that I have access to, and
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah. Wow.
So, it's a whole dark subject, but it's the reality that's talked about in Bhagavad Gita from the very, very first chapter of, these lustfully based relationships that bring about unwanted progeny and, the women that, get exploited and degraded, and the whole society just becomes, dark.
And then that's
Disturbed.
the result of lust. That's the result of cultivating lust instead of love and living controlled by lust.
And there's no rules, and people are not living by rules. You see, in the Vedic system, there was rules. The marriages were based on rules and regulations and careful consideration of who the persons are involved are and what is their, chances or potential for success in this relationship.
Yeah.
And, the Vedic system was filled with, activities that brought about a spiritual upliftment and, cultivation of a spiritual consciousness, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Well,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, within the family as well.
Well, yes, within the family.
Mm.
Within the family, but before the family, within the young girl, within the young guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
They just,
yeah.
In the family, meaning the mother and father and their children had this upbringing, this culture that made it so they were on a higher level, a higher standard.
I see.
So when it came time to be married, it wasn't just a random go out and
Exactly.
see who looks the best and what attracts your lust the most and then jump in.
No.
It was a whole nother concept. But we can't talk about that in reality because that doesn't exist today.
No.
That's how it's supposed to be. That's how it was designed to be. But when you destroyed the design,
But
and the designer,
yeah.
you
But there's
and
still
you're
there's still a valid point of what you said, that when you're starting to get interested in spiritual life, then it might be perhaps a better idea for you, to try to introduce kind of a version of that system to start getting set things straight for yourself in your life and start cultivating your own relationship to God and do your meditations and start living that lifestyle for yourself instead of immediately jumping into something
yes, of course,
that you're not ready for, perhaps.
because you're going to be so divided in your attention.
Yeah.
that there's no way you're going to have time or desire to really focus on your spiritual growth.
Mm.
And if you're determined to be with a woman, why don't you try to introduce this woman to this idea of spiritual life and see what her reaction is?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you don't know. Maybe you do know, but there's a possibility you might be more receptive than you think.
Yeah, that's true.
And is she still inclined to be with him or not? See, there's many variables here.
Yeah, but
Before you can say, do this, you got to know a lot of different details.
Right. But it's kind of like a general idea is then if it's possible, then it would be beneficial for, in such a situation, to try to reunite the family in that way, when there's a kid involved especially.
Yeah, of course.
Mm.
And here's another person that doesn't have Krishna, that has no real chance of being happy.
Mm-hmm.
Why not give her and the child that chance? why not give her the opportunity to actually check it out and make a decision? No, I'm not interested in this. I don't want anything to do with this. Well, now you've tried. At least you've done what you can. If you care about the person, then you should do this.
But and then if she says, if that's the situation, you still stay. You mean you're still, in the relationship.
No, if it's obvious that she doesn't want anything to do with it, then you should move away from that, because that's going to be an anchor around your neck in your spiritual life. But if you're not just really interested in spiritual life, you're just kind of wishy-washy, kind of checking, then, and you're still looking for another one to replace her, then that's, the same thing all over again. So, in other words, you should just try to move on if you're really going to move on spiritually. But if you're just going to move on to another sensual pleasure, exploitative, mutual enjoyment type of relationship, then that's wrong.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
That's wrong. Unless the situation is so bad that you just can't be together, and you're just going to wind up fighting, and that's no good for the child either.
Yeah.
Because by design, that child loves the father and the mother. And so it's very hard for them to see the two people that they love in a war with each other.
Yeah.
Because they got allegiance to both sides. And they want to see them happy and showing care and concern and love for each other, not hate and, just cursing. And so that rips the child apart too. It doesn't fare well for a child to be born in a war zone.
No.
So there's a lot involved here, If there was no child involved, it would be much simpler. But you say there already is a child involved. This is another spirit soul that needs care, that needs nurturing, that needs compassion, that needs, protection, that needs all kinds of requirements for them to have a normal life. And so you got to consider all those things. If you really have any concern for another person, you got to consider both of those other two people involved in this.
And I know he's very, very caring about his daughter, extremely. He really does everything he can to bring her up well in this society, and takes care of her and loves to spend time with her, and I think he's a good father. So.
Well, then I don't know. There's no perfect answer here, because it starts with an imperfect, situation. From the beginning.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And now
and like I say, what is the reason they can't be together, the mother and the father? I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, I guess I know a little bit more detail, but it's like, yeah. For the general person looking to this and trying to apply it to their life, it's probably going to be a different situation. So in one way, it may just be better to speak in general terms so that each and every person can adapt whatever we say to their specific situation.
Usually it's false ego.
Yeah.
You're not allowing me to control you like I want to, or you're not allowing them to control you like they want to. You don't really care about each other, so you don't really try to work it out. You want to work it out on your terms, but the other side wants to work it out on their terms. And there's no compromise. There's no, real effort to just take a lower position and, for the good of the child, if nothing else. If he really loves the child, then he should, think about the child and disregard, not just giving her nice things and bringing her up with a good Norwegian, home and education, and we know where that goes. Fluent, so she can go to the good schools or have the good material things, and that's not what makes a good family. That's not what makes a good life for a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I say, a lot involved here. I mean, it's ugly topic.
And now he got, interested in another woman, and she, and after a while he realized that, he still kind of had feelings for the first one, and so he couldn't proceed with this relationship, and he told her, and like you say, it hurt. I mean, this situation creates problems as well, because now she's very, very hurt, and she's got a difficulty accepting that he doesn't want to be with her, and so
there you go. Just waltz through life, just causing people to have just like a trail of carnage.
But that's the thing. Like he and I can really recognize myself in this situation. Like, you want to do well, you want to not hurt people, you want to not do people harm. But somehow, due to this lack of, I don't know, just somehow it ends up into this. You're actually creating a lot of harm because you're. I don't know why. Because
you're just trying to enjoy your senses.
Yeah,
You're
I guess that's the root of it.
Get what you want sensually, physically, and mentally.
Yeah.
That always causes harm.
Yeah.
Look at the planet, how much harm it's caused the planet Earth.
Yeah.
I mean, just take it on a big, broad scale here. We're not even talking about people. We're talking about the Earth planet.
Exactly.
And if you look, what's the cause of that? Sensual desires, trying to fulfill sensual, desires for pleasure, and it leads to exploitation of individuals, of the animals, of the environment, of the whatever. It's the same thing, It always leads to destruction. It's not possible for it not to. Everybody's trying to adjust everything so I can have all my sensual desires fulfilled and not cause any harm. Good luck. It's impossible, But that's the illusion people are in. Because they're not going to give up their desire for sensual pleasure and enjoyment, exploitation.
No.
They're not going to move in a direction, and that's all lust. That's all bound by the sinful enemy of the world, lust. That's why it's happening, because people can't do otherwise as long as they're under that control.
And but some people would even not recognize themselves. Maybe many people in that description, they would feel like, but all I'm looking for is, deep friendship and love and union and just being with another person. It's not about sense gratification. It's not about me. It's just about having a deep relationship and love and friendship and.
Yeah, so let's go where that really exists. Let's go to where it's possible. Let's go to the truth of life. Your spirit soul. And no material relationship, friendship, love, etc. is going to satisfy you. It's always short. It's always missing, some essential element of fulfillment. So if we listen to the scriptures and the spiritual masters who know the truth, they're not going to tell you it's possible somewhere. You just haven't found your soulmate yet. They're never going to tell you that. They're going to tell you it's not possible. There's only one relationship that can produce that result, and that's with the Supreme Lord. Spend your whole time and energy cultivating that relationship, and you can be successful, But along the way, if you've cultivated this real spiritual goal and desire, you may be able to be accompanied by another person, a jiva soul, another person, that can come into your life and you work together as a team, to achieve this one goal, and you can have that companionship, that relationship. You will have that love, but it will be fueled by the pure love of the Lord. It's not going to be lost. It's a whole nother concept of relationship that people don't even know about.
Yeah, and since you know about it...
Nobody's telling them this.
No. And then you think what you have is love. You think what you have is the highest of what it can be, because you know about nothing else. You think that's the top. That's,
But at the best, if you look at any perfect, loving relationship, materially speaking, that somebody might declare this is as it is, and I want it like this, it's what happens? You die.
Yeah.
It's temporary. It does not last. You can't take it with you. It's gone. Or they die, and they're gone. And they didn't take you with them. And people sit around and lament, and they say, I just want to die and go where they went. The old lover's leap, story, where they love each other so much, and because, society or their parents or whatever, some, uncontrollable situation doesn't allow them to be together, they just climb up to a high place and jump off together, commit suicide together, so they can go together in death. But that doesn't work either. Because as an individual, they're going to go wherever their karma and their desires and their whatever take them. Oh, they're out there somewhere together. Maybe not.
Yeah.
Probably not. So best follow the tried and true system. It's been handed down since millennia for success in material life, for happiness, for pleasure, for inner peace, for satisfaction. There's a system, a transcendental system that's already designed by the transcendental Lord, the perfect person, the perfect caretaker, the perfect well-wisher, And if we just give up all of our individual attempts to find what we think we want, and just take that perfect system and apply it to our life, that's intelligent. That's going to work. That's what the sages and saints and the yogis, the mystics, they've been doing forever. The people who really know, that have the intelligence, that's what they do. Not just tell you to do it and they do something different. That's what they have done. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, since time immemorable, sages and saints have traversed this path and been successful.
So we can do it as well. We can follow.
Like everybody can do it.
Yeah.
And that's an intelligent thing. Quit trying to forge your own way, and everything's based on speculation and sentiment and emotion and false promises and lies that we've been led to believe in a society that just pushes us in the wrong direction. It's all a formula for disaster. It cannot work. It cannot work. So,
and yeah.
Why? Why do that?
And isn't that the best situation you're in if you are told that as a man, you're meant to take responsibility, you're meant to give guidance, because then you have a system by which you can get guidance in which direction to lead your family and lead your life so that you help your wife. I mean, otherwise you're out in the dark. That's wonderful news that there's a way that you can just hook up and know, okay, so I know that I'm doing the right thing if I'm doing this and this, and I'm going to help my family and help those I care about, because I have a manual, like I have it's all clear what to do and how to take responsibility and make it so that I don't cause more suffering, but help other people. I mean, that's...
So if this person you've been referring to really cares about his daughter and really has some feeling still for his partner, as we'll say, then why not put a lot of energy into making that work on a spiritual level? Let's go together in a direction in life that's actually going to produce a real result of happiness and harmony and love. Why not? I mean, what's the reason not to? Because you don't really believe what you've heard or what we're saying? You have no faith in it? Or it's just, in your idea, going to take away from your sensual enjoyment? What's the reason? You know, and it's all based on some illusion that's not true. The reason will be based on an untruth.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. I guess, one could say, well, she wouldn't be interested, or she's not interested, or she, yeah.
Has he tried?
No.
I don't know. See, I'm speaking a lot of things that I don't know,
right.
Real details about.
Yeah.
But has he tried?
No.
Or has he tried with some knowledge, or has he brought her to you and asked you to explain some truth to her? I mean, a brand new person is not the guy to explain things. He doesn't know himself. He doesn't have faith himself. He's not sure of himself. So he's not the right person. He should bring her to another. Say you took a 5-minute course in some kind of medical treatment, and you've got a really sick patient. Are you the guy to go and cure this person? Or should you bring her to a doctor who's had years and years of experience and treated hundreds and thousands of patients successfully? Which would be better for you and your 5-minute, medical knowledge to just take it on yourself, or bring her to the expert physician?
Got your point. Yeah.
So even if he's mentioned it to her, you have no idea what he said or how he portrayed it, or what doubts he has that were obvious, or what fanaticism that he may have. How did that play into it? See?
It just seems
New
like
people are not the people to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, it just seems like the odds are, but again, you never know. It just seems like the odds are very small that she would be interested. If you see an amount of people in Tromsø that are interested in coming to our classes, is quite a few percentage of the total population there.
Well, I understand that, but has he tried? This is my point.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And has, maybe she wouldn't want to come to a class, but she might even entertain a personal meeting with you.
Yeah.
People go to marriage counselors all the time. There's millions of marriage counselors in the world, and there's multi-millions of people who go to them.
Yeah.
And spend buku money to get some advice. So who's to say she wouldn't approach, a private meeting just to talk about the situation and see if there's some solution here, some way to step forward.
I never considered that. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of ways to approach this other than just jumping out and trying to find another one.
Yeah. Because you haven't changed your attitude. So you're gonna run into the same situation because your inside hasn't changed, and then it'll be just on repeat.
Then you find one, and you build another story, and you have another kid, and that one doesn't work out, and there you go. You just move away from that. I mean, Iceland is classic in this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we talked about that before, I think.
Did we? I can't remember.
I don't know. Maybe we didn't. But I read quite a in-depth article on the attitude in Iceland toward this kind of a subject.
Uh-huh.
And there's such a small, very small percentage of people in Iceland that have kids or relationships or whatever that are married. Most are not. Almost everybody's not, but they don't want to be. Marriage is like a step down. And this one woman was bragging, I mean, really just boasting. She's got 3 kids from 3 different guys, and she's proud of it. And she said, yeah, in Iceland, we're free. You just get with a partner, you have a relationship for a while, you may have kids, fine, but when it's no longer enjoyable, you just move on and find another one and have another kid. And she'd done that 3 times, and at this moment had none again. She's, but she's thinking, this is advanced. This is a very progressive society that basically the world should adopt.
Man. No.
Yeah. We're free here. We're not encumbered by, long-term relationships and marriages and all of this.
Yeah.
So that's where it goes, And a child brought up into that home, here's you got 3 kids from 3 fathers, that are brought up in such a family, a family with such a philosophy. Well, what do you think they're going to think? How are they going to, approach the time in life when they are desiring a mate? With the same attitude, of course. But it usually steps down, so now it'll be a little darker, a little more degraded.
And is that how we want to have our society? Easy come, easy go, as shallow as possible is best, never responsibility, never taking it serious in a sense. I mean, this is the old relationship anarchy idea that I was also actually previous in my life following a bit. The idea of, but that's a big subject that we can perhaps approach one day.
But if you look at any spiritual teaching, whether it's Christianity, whether it's Islam, whether it's the Vedas, whether it's any system that, has some semblance of truth, you're going to find marriage is a cornerstone of society. A cornerstone. So, obviously, just by, looking at how society is today, that cornerstone has been, what could you say, destroyed? It's been vilified. It's been seen as a bad thing. And this Icelandic, vision of how it should be has just blossomed. So it means spiritual life has nothing to do with any of this stuff, because you take the basic tenet of society with any kind of spiritual guidance and thrown it away. And see, that is progress. We're making progress. I didn't know one broken home when I grew up. Not one. In my time, and I lived in a small town, and you basically knew a lot of people. You didn't know everybody, but you knew a large majority of the residents. And the ones you didn't know personally, you knew about. And I'm just trying to think, maybe I did, but just coming to mind, I don't remember any child that I knew that went to school with, et cetera, that came from a broken home.
Wow.
There was a mom and a dad at home. And so there you go. Actually, I remember now, there was one couple that did get divorced and they did have a child. But he was much younger than me. He was like, if I was teenage, he was like 6 or something. So I didn't really have any, exchange with him as a friend. But there was that one. And it was the talk of the town, by the way. When that took place, I can remember my mom talking to some neighbor or somebody because, you heard them on the phone or you happened to be in the house when they visited or whatever. Did you hear about, Buck and Mabel Gordon getting divorced? Yeah, I heard about it. Can you believe it? Oh, yeah, it's so bad. It was totally against the standard, completely. Because why? Because the Bible said you don't do that. The Bible said that's not good. You went to church and you learned, don't do that. You see. And everybody around you, they didn't do that. If you had a bad marriage, you just lived with it. You made your bed, you lie in it. That was basically the philosophy. But the bad marriages weren't that bad. There wasn't alcohol in most of the families. There wasn't a drunk husband or a drunk wife or both. Yeah. There weren't people drugged out.
Okay.
They were clean thinking.
Yeah.
They didn't have all these things destroying their minds. They did go to church. They did read the Bible. They did, so there was a spiritual influence that was coherent. This is my point, and it kept, it created a society that was, very uplifting.
Yeah.
And the kids, they had that as an example to follow. But if you take that away from society, then you've got modern world.
And the consequences of which.
And the consequences, the mental health issues, the exploitation, the sexual perversions, the on and on it goes. It's unlimited.
Yeah.
So anyway, every individual that does not promote that is a plus. Every individual that doesn't fall into that trap and just upholds the standard as it should be, designed by the Supreme Person himself, is a plus for society. A plus for himself, a plus for his family, his children, whatever.
Regardless of how deep, how more, how much further he goes, but that's just the basis of human society, and it will make society much more calm and peaceful. Yeah.
Well, I guess our time is up. We've kind of run the gamut.
Yeah. I guess let's have a chant.
Yeah.
And I'll
see if the families would just come together and chant the holy names on a daily basis. You've got something there that will change things. This is something that's beyond words, and good intentions and hopeful thinking. This works. Goranga Haribo. Goranga Haribo. Goranga Haribo. I'm going to do it 2 times. Goranga Haribo. Goranga Haribo. Goranga Haribo. Goranga Haribo. Haribo, Goranga Haribo,
Goranga Haribo, Goranga Haribo, Goranga Haribo, Goranga Haribo. Haribo, Goranga, 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 Haribo, Haribo, Goranga, Goranga, Haribo, Haribo, Goranga, Goranga, Haribo, Goranga, Goranga, Haribo, 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 Haribo, Goranga, Haribo, Goranga, Goranga, Haribo, Haribo, Goranga, Goranga, Haribo, Haribo, Goranga, Goranga, Haribo, Haribo, Goranga, Haribo, Goranga, Haribo, Goranga, Haribo, Goranga,
Goranga Haribol.
Haribol. Goranga.
Yeah, that's a nice way to bring people together.
Mm-hmm. And another is what Lynn is bringing here. She's coming with desserts. She wants me to have lunch and dessert.
Oh,
we had.
You guys had the celebration yesterday.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know about those leftovers sweets.
From Vedic celebrations we have every now and then. So.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Valkia, very much for the talk.
Thank you, Ruben. And good luck to your new friend.
I hope this answered his question, if he's listening to this. And yeah.
You know, it might have, but not the answers aren't always what we want to hear.
You know, I told him this morning as well. I told him, you know, when you listen to lectures, sometimes it's not going to be what you want to hear, but what you need to hear. So
yeah, yeah, that's right. You don't always get what you want, but you get what you need.
That's how it's supposed to be. Yeah.
Okay,
you.
so we'll see you. Next time.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Next week probably. Yeah. Thanks. Namaste.
All right. Namaste. Haribol.
Haribol.
Haribol to everybody there, of course.
Oh yeah. I'm sure they send their Haribols as well.